Hey guys, Matt here with UMB Alerts. Just another recap video for you. This is Monday, October 20th. So, crazy day today in the markets for sure. We had a lot of alerts come through for our premium alert members. If you are subscribed, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, look through this list. It was just stacked with alerts all day. Now, keep in mind, right, not all of them were, runners on the day or actually had setups that could be taken. But the important part is that there was a lot of action today. There was definitely a lot of volume coming out of the weekend, and it was a pretty decent day overall. So if you're new to this channel, these alerts here that I'm going through in our Telegram are alerts that we send out to our premium Telegram alert members all day long, 5 days a week. And what we essentially do is scan the market all day, and we look for what's running, what's hot, right? What is the best news that comes out? Where are the volume spikes? Where are the VWAP reclaims or bounces? All that stuff. So that's all part of these alerts that you get over here when you do subscribe to the channel. So the point of these videos is to do a run through on the day and just kind of click through some of the alerts, pull up the chart, look at where the alert came through, and then look at what was going on and potential plays that you could have had. So as I always suggest in these videos, if you are not subscribed to these alerts and you would like them, let us know in the comments. Get on our Facebook group, UMB Wealth, and let us know there. Message us. We are happy to get you the information. But most importantly, we want to make sure that you guys understand how to use these alerts, right? They are no good if you just think that you're going to get an alert, put a bunch of money on it and make money. That's not going to happen unless you're the luckiest person in the world, right? So you have to actually understand trading to some degree, and be able to place some indicators on your screen and actually look at the chart, read the chart, understand what it's telling you. Use your edge that you develop over time and take a nice trade. So again, they don't all pan out, but a lot of them do at the end, by the end of the day, right? So we're just going to kind of hop right into it here. DVLT was our first alert. It came through at 6:31 this morning. Let's see here. So DVLT we are all familiar with, at least us analysts are. We've played it many times. So this alert actually came through right at the start of this move this morning. Right away, it came through at $1.98, which is right here. So you don't really have a whole lot to go off of. This actually ran a little bit the day before. In after hours on Friday the 17th, we had a nice spike up, consolidation, and then bam, which is what we normally see right out of the gate, but it's normally at 4 a.m. So this was actually at 6 a.m. this morning. We had a spike up and a pullback and another spike up and a pullback into a bunch of consolidation, fell below VWAP, spike up. I mean, this thing just had plays all day, right? So what would you have done if you got this alert this morning and you were right here? Well, the first thing you're going to do is watch, because we don't really have a lot of history, at least in the, since 4 a.m. this morning to kind of go off of. If we scroll back here, we have absolutely no volume in here. So if we scroll back here to the morning time, like we could see that there's kind of some general resistance in this area. The best possible thing you could do there is actually, and you will see me draw resistance lines all the time. The best thing you could possibly do here is capture this this high that occurred in the overnight session, and just kind of like get a box going across your screen like this. That is going to give you a general area of where that resistance is going to lie. So you should have something looking like that as soon as this alert came through, because what you were going to do is scroll back and say, well, yeah, I mean, we definitely topped out in this area. We came up, we tried to get in there, we fell a little short, we fell a little short here, we fell short. So this is definitely some hard resistance here. So let's keep an eye on that, right? So you really probably should not have been in a trade in here. It's just too risky. Sure, we're above VWAP, EMAs are stacked. Like, you could have bought that alert out of the gate at 198 and scalped it up to 205, which is not a huge move, and pulled back, right? So You could have done that and got in and out, but it just wasn't the best move on the day, that's for sure. From there, you would have definitely been waiting for it to get, out of this box, right? Which it did right here. You could have taken an entry at 208. You could have rode up to 215 before it slammed all the way, ended up slamming all the way back down to 199. It's like, oh man, right? Pump and dump. So that happened, but then if you were watching, it kind of popped back up over VWAP here, and it got interesting. I mean, we really had no volume. That's what all this little chop is. There's just no candle bodies at all. There's like absolutely no volume. I mean, these candles have like 100, 200, 800, like they have absolutely no volume. So if you were watching, you're like, all right, well, it's on my, it's on my radar. Let's keep it up on a chart if you have chart space, and let's just watch, right? So we got a nice dip here. We got a sell off, and then we got a spike back up. So this would have been a perfect entry right here, because not only do you have the VWAP break, but you also have the flip of the EMAs and the break of the 5-minute EMA. Those of you that watch these videos, you are very familiar with the 5, 8, 13 break strategy. We are coming out with a couple more videos with similar strategies, not the same, but other strategies that you can add to your arsenal. So anyway, you could have taken this trade here from like 207, 206 if you saw that break and you know that strategy, and you would have rode that up to 220. I mean, again, not a huge move, but all in all, a pretty decent scalp there. So scalps all day long going on through here. We pulled back down again below VWAP, and then we had this massive run up from under VWAP, right? So we don't really recommend trading under VWAP unless you are, at least a middle of the road to more advanced trader, and you are reading other indicators like your MACD, which is not difficult to read, maybe your RSI indicator, and also possibly level 2, right? So right in this area, what happened was we got that break of the 5 EMA, which, again, this is a strategy, guys, that we teach all the time, and we preach it all the time. It happened right here. So if you had taken that and just said, well, I'm just going to, I'll take a rather heavy position, right, because you're at 204 and, VWAP's at 213. Okay, maybe I can get a nice, like, 10-cent scalp right here on, the heaviest position I can take, right? That would have been a good position to take, a perfect entry. You would have scaled out right here. You still would have been holding runners, but what would have happened is, or what I would have done with this alert is, once this broke and came down and retested and told me that it was going to hold and my level 2 looked good and the MACD was still open, I would have absolutely added more here and stayed in for the rest of this move up here. So all in all, not a bad play. The rest of the day, it fizzled off. It came down, it landed on VWAP, and then again, we had that awesome spike back up here. So, like, this thing just gave plays all day long. It was not a fast mover, and volume was kind of sporadic, but when the volume came, it really hit hard, and this thing jumped. So, again, what you were looking for here is these 5, 8, 13 EMA breaks, and again, another perfect one just above VWAP. Like, this couldn't be a better position for your EMAs to be stacked and your VWAP, and for all of that to occur at the same time. It's just yelling at you for an entry. So if you'd like me to break this one down more, it was interesting. It was choppy, but there was a lot of plays to be had on it. Let me know. I'm happy to do so. So we will jump right in and kind of keep moving here. RANI, right? This was one from Friday after hours. So RANI ran today. It was pretty good. Let's see what we got on it. So, RANI. Gotta wait. Forgive me here. I gotta let my chart focus. And just give me 1 second. I just have to give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that, guys. So RANI, we had let's see, that alert came through at $2.18 at 6:32 this morning. So, of course, at 4 a.m., what do we get? We get the spike, right? That's all that overnight, people that held and were waiting for that pop, which they got, and they were very happy about. I mean, if they were into the $1.80, that thing slammed all the way up to $2.60, almost a dollar move at 4 a.m. So the overnight plays are something that we do as well. We have a couple analysts in the group that are really good at them, and they play them a lot. So you can see here on my chart, I have this. I have this upward trend line and this downward trend line today from 4 a.m. when I was looking for an entry here, and what I was essentially doing was, charting these trends into each other and looking for this breakout. So you can see right here where these two trend lines meet. We know that something's going to happen. It's either going to break to the upside or it's going to break to the downside. Well, unfortunately for us, I was waiting for a break to the upside. Well, we got a break to the downside instead. Regardless, this thing still put off some really good moves today. Let's look at where the alert came through. 632. So that was getting really close to this break, actually. So, yeah, somewhere in here, right? So the alert finally came through once we knew it was kind of stabilizing around VWAP. It came through in this area, but you knew, forget about my trend lines, right? You knew for sure that you had multiple resistance areas in here. So the first thing, no question, that you should have had on your chart was a bunch of lines. Like we had resistance here, right? That was a level. We also met that level here. We had one here, and we obviously had one, with a wick, but let's go to the body, which is here, right? So you should have had these resistance levels on your chart. So even when this thing came through, we were kind of just signaling and knew that we were coming to a squeeze, and it's well, okay, if we can break out of this squeeze, we're going to slam through these two baby, resistance levels. They're not going to be anything. Hopefully we get back up here to this high. Well, that didn't happen. It fell off. She should have had no position in this, really, with this alert out of the gate, because there was just no position to be had. So, and even all through here, again, we always talk about the 5, 8, 13. You could have played that multiple times in here. It doesn't look like any huge run-ups, but it could have been played, and it certainly could have been played right in here and caught this massive move from under VWAP, right? So at very least, if this was on your charts and you weren't going to play under VWAP, which is fine, and we actually recommend, especially for not-so-advanced traders, once we broke VWAP here, we came up, we came down, we got our retest, and bam, this thing shot up. So once we broke this first original resistance level here, this 228, you guys should have had eyes on this thing, knowing, okay, it's got some strength. We got volume pouring in. I mean, look at this volume here, right? So it's got some strength. Let's keep some eyes on it. So it pulls back, and it breaks through, the next resistance level, pulls back, and then bam, it crushes through even the next resistance level. So you could have had positions on this thing all day long. I think I waited until I saw this first one break, and we came into this pullback here, and what I really wanted to see was, hey, is it going to reclaim this first level? So I ended up in a position somewhere in this area here, and because we reclaimed that level, and then I wrote it up to about in here, and I was reading the candlesticks in here in this congestion, and I was thinking, you know what, it doesn't have much more. I can tell it's going to come back down. How far, I don't know, but I think I scaled here some just for a quick 10 or 20 cent scalp, and then it pulled back in here, and I realized, hey, this thing's going to find some support in here right about where this did, and it did. It popped back up. I waited, though, until we actually broke our next resistance level, which was this guy, and we got on top before I took another position, which would have been right in here, right? So took that position. We came up. We broke through that high resistance. Look what happened. We broke through here. We got up to a high. We pulled back, and where did we land? Right on that high resistance. That's the importance of these lines, because if you had gotten in, down here, and you rode this thing up through the break, and then you kept riding through this little bit of chop here for a new high of about 270, you could have, cut some here at this break, thinking maybe it was going to be a resistance, let these runners ride. As soon as we got a red candle, cut, and then what's the next thing you're looking for? Well, you're looking for support. Where's this thing going to pull back to? Well, you already have it on your chart because you were smart enough to plot it from earlier, right? So here it is here. Here's that original line. That thing came down to the almost exact spot. I mean, sure, we had some wicks under it, but look at the way that's sitting there from that line that I threw onto this chart live, right? I mean, it's perfect. So you can't make this stuff up, guys. Listen, the the charts and the markets and the price action, it really, there are reasons why these things occur. And the more that you can understand the reasons why, the more that you will understand the importance of getting these types of indicators and zones on your chart so that you know what you're looking for your next play. Because bam, once this thing came down and sat here and held, you would have taken another entry here, right? Rode that up to here. You got a nice pullback in here, rode up to a new high. You would have caught that whole move. So anyway, and even from there, right, we still came down, almost touched our support, and went up to a new high for a high of the day of 282, right? So from the time this alert came out, which was, let's see, 6:32 this morning, it was $2.18. I mean, that was a nice move. If we check that out on here, we go to 218, which is about here. Oh, where are we at? Right here. Up to that high. I mean, that was a 30% move in that whole run, right? There's no way you would have rode that the whole way because we dipped way below down here. You would have cut for sure. But the point is to show you the opportunity that was inside of that move all day long. So you got to keep these things up on your chart so that you know how to use the other strategies to take advantage of them. So that was rainy today. It was a solid play. Let's look at BYND. BYND was a monster. I mean, it was kind of difficult too to play, but it eventually took off, which was awesome. I had multiple plays on this stock today. So BYND, let's see here. You can see I got some lines going from this morning. So this thing, what did it do? So BYND came out at 6:53 this morning. That was, let's see, somewhere in this location here, right here. So again, at the end of a potential squeeze, right? Right at the end of a potential squeeze. So we sent that alert right here at 6:53. It was $1.08, which was it's actually back here. It was up here, right? It was after the squeeze had kind of occurred. So what happened was we were riding these trend lines down, up and down. We got the squeeze. It pulled back to that bottom trend line, and then bam, it shot out. So this was a really cool play for sure. I was watching it earlier than the alert came out because we just weren't sure, especially when it dipped down here and made this lower low. We were like, after this initial spike here. I'll move that over. After this initial spike here, and then it chopped, and then it came down, and it rode down in here, and it made that lower low. Like, it just wasn't looking that good. The volume wasn't the best, but then it started riding back up, and we realized, hey, this thing's riding a trend line back uphill. So we're actually forming a nice wedge here, and we are going to break, and we did. So when that alert came out, what you would have done, that was up here in this zone. The first thing, right, what do we always teach you is where is your resistance? So, I mean, at very least, you would have said, okay, I got resistance right here, no question. I got resistance right here, and I got resistance up here at the top, right? You would have made those three lines, and you also would have said, okay, well, I think I got support in here, right, in this area here. So let's just kind of get an arbitrary line in there. And I think I got support back in here. I've got to move my chart over so you can see what I'm looking at, right in here. And you also obviously have support in here where it bottomed out, but we won't mark that because it's just too low anyway. You're not going to go that low with it. So this alert came through right here, and I know I got a bunch of lines on the chart, so bear with me. And what you would have done was wanted to see a candle break that resistance before you took an entry. Well, it broke, but then it tanked on the next candle, and it tanked and it tanked and tanked, and it came down. And what it did is it didn't actually get down to this lower support. It actually just hit this trend line that we had drawn, and then it shot off. So you got this monster break here. We go in for another break of the following trend line and another one. So how would you have known to get in here? Well, it's hard, right? We were watching these trend lines. I had an idea once we landed here and showed support and took off that we were going back up, but you guys wouldn't necessarily have known that same thing. So really the only thing that you could go off of is the break play of these resistance levels. So on the 30-second, this is where I always recommend getting on the 30-second. So, and unfortunately my bar is in the way, and I can't really. Let's see here. I don't think I can click on it because you guys can't see it, but my my taskbar is in the way of me clicking on those numbers. So on the 30-second, you got a pullback in here, and you would have entered, and you would have taken that ride, right back up here, and then you would have kind of fizzled out. But so that would have been a half decent play. You just would have had to been watching these support and resistance level. It was kind of iffy because you had so much, like you had one here, you had one there, you had one there. But again, for quick scalps, you easily could have taken a position either here or even with the break of this guy for the ride up to the next one there, right? So the BYND got up to 120 here before it fell off. For a while, it really didn't do a whole lot until later in the day when it really started taking off. So later in the day, when it didn't catch my attention again until we got over this 115 level, and I knew that was a solid level from in here. I knew that we were in this zone that, like, hey, if we got over the 115, if we can get over the 120, we really have a chance for a decent move here. So what happened? Right about 12:30, we got over the 115 level. We came up, we topped out at the 120, we pulled back, we broke the 120, and then broke the 123, and then pulled all the way back and found support back on the 115. So this was a difficult play in here. I actually ended up taking the break of this 120 line, and then it pulled back, and I got out with like next to nothing because I wasn't expecting it to slam down right here. So once it did, I was out with a paper cut at best. We found support on our 115 line and then continued for the upward trend from here. So once we found support here and I confirmed, what I did was I played I was looking at my resistance, obviously, but I played the 8 EMA break, and that's why that's important here, because as we came down, you can see our EMAs are flipped. I got my 13 on top and the 5 on the bottom. Well, they need to be the other direction. So what I was looking for was that break and flip, which occurred right here. And I think what happened was I said, well, we're so close to this 120. Let me get over that. Okay, we got over. Okay, we got a pullback right into our EMAs. I took this position right here because not only did we get the EMA break, but we also got a strong break of our 120 level and then a pullback into it to kind of retest the 120 level. I went in a little risky here, kind of heavy, and even though we were back under our resistance line, we popped back up and it created support, and then bam, this thing shot off. So it was actually a really good play in here. We had a lot to, a long way to go on this. This thing ran all the way up to 152, right, by the end of the day. Just an absolute monster. I'm sorry. It actually ran up to 159 as a high. Just an absolute beast today. So from our alert, which was $1.08, we ran to 159. Might not sound like a lot, but definitely a decent move. 32% on that move. So another great play, right? Let's just keep going here. Trying to find a few more that ran, or even that didn't run, and just kind of chart those out as well. So let's see. So back in the morning, we had REPL. That was early on. I think I skipped over it. Where'd it go? Here it is. We had news on REPL at 7:03, right? So we sent out a news alert at 7:03. Let's look at REPL. REPL. Let's go. REPL. So. Come on, REPL. All right. So here we are. So I actually made a post on this for social media, so you can see I was already kind of outlining it, right? This thing had a nice move really quick. So REPL news came out at 7 o'clock at let's see. Sorry, I'm looking for the alert. It was at 7:03, so it came through right here at about $6.12. So when that happened, again, there wasn't much to go off of. Look at this blank area. There's nothing. There's no candles. There is no, there's absolutely nothing here. There's nothing to go off of. So, what are you going to do, right? Well, the alert comes out at 6:03. You don't have a whole lot to read as far as support and resistance are concerned. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to kind of wait. You're going to look at your volume. You're going to look at your MACD. Hopefully you have that on your chart, and you're going to wait to see if what this thing does. What I did was I waited for a pullback. So at 603, when we saw this thing, I really wanted a pullback back into this area, like 545 level or something, and that didn't happen. I could not get it. So it was let me just change this. I did not get it. So when I saw it kind of create support here at 633, I actually entered a position right there because we were just over VWAP. We were just on top of our EMAs. I rode this thing up into here, and then we got this pullback, and I expected another leg up right here, and we didn't get that. So I actually closed out right in here for like a small win, right? But once we started climbing back up over VWAP, it was clear that we were going to make a new high, which we did. I mean, we got all the way up to, what was this, 274? No, I'm sorry, 893 from a 622 alert. It was a 44% move, guys. I mean, that move from the time of the alert to here was in 30 minutes. So, it's like just incredible. If you're on these alerts and you are catching these things like that, just absolutely, I'm so happy for you. And, again, if you're not on these alerts and you would like them, please get in the comments and let us know. So we'll just kind of keep moving here. Just to recap that, you didn't have a lot to go off of for support and resistance. You were really just going to be reading volume as you were climbing up from that alert signal to kind of tell you when to get out. For me, I honestly thought that we had another leg up here to probably right about this high of 274, but it pulled back almost immediately to VWAP. And that's where I exited. So, I took a small trade on it. I didn't catch that full 44% because I didn't like this chop in here. But if you had bought and held, I mean, you were banking almost 50%. So kudos to you. Let's see here. We'll just kind of keep ripping through these alerts. We'll do a couple more. I don't know. I'm just going through them all. All right, XBP at 817 this morning. So we got XBP at 817 this morning at 63 cents. This thing, I don't know what it did. I remember playing it here in the afternoon. I don't really remember it at 7:15. So we got, let's see. XBP, it was a volume spike at 8:17 this morning, which was right here, right on this large green candle, right? So this is where you came through. It was a really low price. The other analysts know, for anybody that's been live trading with us, I'm not a huge fan of like low cent tickers, like really under $1. They just are what they are. I will play them if I have to, and they're running, and that's all we have. I'm just not a huge fan of them in general. But anyway, it came through here with volume, so we alerted it. It fell off. It did make a new high, but then immediately fell off here. I think we kind of just watched it all day because after that, it really didn't do that much until the afternoon, I thought. No, I guess not. So let me make sure that time was right. Yeah, 8:16. Yeah, I thought this thing came back in after hours, but I don't think so now that I'm looking at it. So anyway, it was, essentially a big, quick spike, a pullback, another spike, a pullback, and it just fizzled off. So it really didn't do much. There was really no position to be had there. You could have taken that break, but this next candle that opened slammed down. So you would have either closed or not have taken it at all the way that thing slammed down. So let's look at just kind of keep I'm going to go a little later in the day just to see what popped up. Let's see. GSIT. GSIT was a monster, right? I really hope this was like our best one from today. I really hope you guys got on this thing. It was just an absolute beast. So that came through. I'm sorry, GSIT. GSIT. That came through at 8:17 this morning for a price of $6.25. So let's look at that. I mean, look at this chart. It was an absolute beast. So it came through 9:17. So we put that thing out at the very start of this move. Once we saw this little bit of volume coming in and we got into this first candle, bam, this alert went out right here on this, almost this first candle up. So what were you going to do? Well, you didn't have anything to go off of. So this was one of those that it was like, well, you kind of wanted to pull back into here, but when you didn't get it, you almost had to chase because it just kept going, right? So I really hope that in this case, guys, like when you open a chart and you don't have an immediate resistance level that you want to break before you get in, all you can really do is hope for that you get I'm just blowing it up really big. It's just like this was that 817 or 917. This is that candle here. So the alert went out here at I don't know, somewhere in here, 625 or no, all the way down here in this dip. The best that you can do is hope that you get a pullback into that first spike, which is what we got. So when this alert went out and you opened it up, you should have saw that, hey, we did get that pullback into our first spike. Like this thing's going to run, volume's coming in, my MACD's open, let's go, right? So that was an immediate buy on this one. And from there, it just never really let up. I mean, look at this monster today. Like all the way up, it never let up. It halted a few times and bam, I mean, all the way up to 1750. Guys, this was alerted at $6.25 and it ran, let's just see here. Where's our alert? I got to find the time. 9:17. It was down here at $6.25. Was about there, all the way up to that high of 1750. Guys, I can't make this up. 175%, 179% run. I mean, that was just a monster move today. And there was really never a time in this trade when you were like, oh, I got to bail, right? I'm getting knifed out or it's going to collapse, right? Like in here, it got a little sketchy, you know, once we saw this hammer. I mean, for me, I think when I saw this hammer, I actually scaled some. And then when we came back down and we ended up sitting on the 13 and then ended up coming back up and breaking, I added whatever I scaled, I added right back in. I think that's exactly what happened here. Because this hammer told me with candlestick analysis, like, hey, we're in for a reverse, right? Well, I mean, I expected a much bigger pullback. We had already run like 30% there. I expected to come down into this level at least. And I was not going to ride that out. I was going to get out and then take a new position. Well, we didn't even have that chance. This thing just ran all the way up to 1750. Guys, I hope you got on this thing. I mean, just what an absolute monster for the day. I think it was definitely the best play there was. ANRO, right? Let's go into the next one. ANRO. ANRO was actually really good. I remember it was kind of slow when it came out. It was a little higher priced, if I remember correctly. ANRO was it came out at $8.20. At 9:45 this morning. So 9:45 this morning was right here at 8 at it was right in here. So the alert came out right here, guys, like just in this, as it was making this new high. So again, what do you want to see? Well, you want to see a little bit of a pullback, right? If you don't have anything to go off of on the chart before you, and you open it up and you see this spike right away, you're like, all right, well, I want to see a little bit of a pullback. Well, guess what we got right away? I mean, we got a pullback. We went up, we pulled back almost to midway of the candle, an absolute perfect entry. Your EMAs are stacked together. You're above VWAP and go. The volume's coming in. Bam. Just an absolute monster again. This was ANRO, alerted at $8.20, and it ran from $8.20 all the way up, guys, to $12.10. I mean, and these two alerts were back to back. These were awesome. So let's see here. It ran from $8.20 to, I can't even get up there because I got to move my chart over. Let's see. It ran up to 12.10, like 48% move, guys, on this alert. So, as far as managing this alert the whole way, like these are all just healthy consolidation levels. Like really, when you start to become a little bit more of an advanced trader, really in these levels, what you're doing is actually adding, as long as your MACD is open, as long as you're above your EMAs or above VWAP and the volume's still coming in, like that's what these macro levels give you an option to do, is like add to your position, because we got another leg coming. So, and there's other ways to kind of, to be able to tell that, and for sure be able to make sure that you're adding at the right level. But look at that. I mean, it gave you 1, 2, 3 different chances to add, and take more profit. So this was a great play. I would love to break this down even farther. Again, for purposes of this video, we're gonna continue just on to one more here. Don't have a whole lot of time. Let's see. We're going to get a little later in the day just to see what happened later in the day here. DCGO. This was a good one. I actually just played this one, and it was actually really good. I think it kind of fizzled out now, but let's see where it's at. So, all right, so it's actually holding support really well. This is going to make for a really nice overnight play. I can tell you guys right now, as long as this thing holds right where it's at, because it is 6:36 here, as long as this holds for the next hour and a half, I have several analysts on our team that are 100% going to be buying this as an overnight hold. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, but let's just see what happens with it. So this alert came out. They actually had news, but it came out as a volume spike first. It was at $1.45, which was right here in this candle here. And look what it did, man. I mean, it blew all the way up to $2. It ran $1.45 all the way to $2. I mean, we were where? Right here. Right there. I should be able to do that math in my head, but it is 37%, right? 38% move this afternoon. So even if you weren't trading, guys, because you're working all day or whatever the case might be, this thing ran, I mean, this was an after-hour play, and there were several of them today. It ran 37% in a matter of 15 minutes, right? So just an awesome chart, super beautiful, right? It pops up, we get a pullback, it pops up, we get a little consolidation, it pops up, it falls into consolidation, and look at how nicely it's riding VWAP. I mean, this is like just a textbook chart, and I just absolutely love this thing. So this will for sure be an overnight play, and so yeah, this alert came through just to give you an idea on entry, right about, I don't know, $1.45, right about here, the bottom of this candle here. Well, you would have needed a break of this 153. So you got that break, and you know it climbed up pretty quickly, but then it came back and it retested. You would have got in at that like 155 level, and bam, rode that thing all the way to the top. That would have been the play, guys, right there. So if you want me to break that down a little bit clearer, I'm happy to do so. I do have to end this video now, but as I always end every video, if you guys like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Please go onto our Facebook, follow us. We are here to help you guys, and we just want to put out like the absolute best content we can, and any strategies and any help that we can possibly offer our members. So get in the comments, let us know if you liked it. Get in the Facebook group, definitely like that, and let us know if you want these alerts. And that will be the end of this video, but let's hope we got a killer day tomorrow, which will be Tuesday the 21st.